Yu-Gi-Oh! Nerd 24 here today, doing a deck discussion slash meta-analysis video on Budding Abyss, the new exclusive archetype for TCG. I don't know if you count it as meta-analysis or just a deck discussion. I think it's kind of a bit of both, maybe. Don't really know. But anyway, I'm going to talk about, in my opinion, why this deck is superior to all two of the other tier 1 decks, and technically 3 if you count Yang Zings. If you want to count Yang Zings as a tier deck, then yes, all the other 3. The deck 1 is able to search out all of the cards, which, again, a reason why search cards are limited to 1 is how powerful that is. They technically have a Stratos. Whenever it hits the graveyard, you get its search. Technically, it's a version of Stratos, which is banned for a reason. So they have a Stratos for the deck that can search out all of these cards, a tour guide, and 2 different versions of a Monster Reborn, which again is already 2 powerful cards. Their Sir, whenever he hits the graveyard, is a Reborn. Again, that's banned for a reason. It's a powerful card. Sir is like a Reborn from the deck. And then there's Tour Guide itself, which is like a Sir. It's just a free recruit and a special summon. Then you have Dante, who is again gives you a plus when he leaves the field. Whenever they hit the graveyard, no matter what way, it will activate. Again, that's another good thing about the cards, because most decks, like Dark World for example, when they get discarded as a cost, they will not get their effects. If you use Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, or any discard outlet like Back to Square One, not Hand Destruction. I keep getting those so mixed up. Hand Destruction. Any of those cards that would make cards miss the timing wouldn't, like Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Use its effect, picture Skarn, top deck something. Skarn still gets its effect because it hit the graveyard. Use this, picture Graph, get a card from the deck. They can't miss timing because they're if effects, not when. So they say if you can, that makes the deck already better. Because no matter what happens, no matter how they hit the graveyard, as long as they stay in the graveyard, they will resolve properly. Like if they would exchange DD Crow, they would miss timing and wouldn't activate because they're not in the same place. It's like Atlanteans. To think about DD Crow versus Atlanteans warning, they wouldn't work. But if they don't DD Crow the cards in the graveyard, they will activate. So this is like one of the plays the deck can do. You just go Dante into Pleiades, detach Dante, bounce a card, Dante returns 1 to your hand, and you can pitch that, do whatever you want with it. The deck has renewable resources that don't run out. Like, you can use all the cards in your deck as long as you still have these 3 to keep recycling them, or 4 if you want to use Dante. You'll be fine. Damage-wise, not entirely fine, but if you're in the game long enough that you're running out of extra deck cards, you should have won by then anyway. So, like, here's the thing. The deck is a toolbox deck. You can use rank 3s, rank 5s, and Gaia Dragon if you want. I don't know why you'd use it, but you can go ahead and use it if you want. So you have access to very powerful exceeds. You have Nightmare Shark to go like their version of a cowboy. You have Downard, Fortune Tune, the Crypt Engineer, Volcasaurus if you choose to play Grenosaurus, Vampire Bomb, which is again a Monster Reborn. This deck can play weird versions of Monster Reborn, and they have their own themed Soul Charge, which again is another powerful card. You can get it for free, so stupid. So this is why I think this deck, in my opinion, is the absolute best deck in the format. Against Shaddolls, the deck doesn't need to special summon as much, and when it does, it's usually a game-ending play, because you can sit there and wait and waste their resources trying to get rid of the Burning Abyss. Just the main deck monsters alone. Just sit there on a graph that goes into a Sir, that goes into a graph, that goes into another Sir, that goes into a graph. You just keep looping it, then you go into Skarn, then you get a search for Tour Guide, then you go for Dante, and you do your whole play. You can waste all of their resources and just keep sitting there while you build up your back row, your traps, your spells, your answers to what they have. With just 3 loopable cards. Like, one thing you can do, just leave a graph on field. Doesn't matter how he gets on field, say he's on field. They go into Nephilim. Okay, it dies. It gets Sir. Okay, your turn. Set whatever you want. Kill Sir, bring back Graph. Kill Graph, bring out Skarn. Kill Skarn, search out Sir. Kill Sir, bring back Graph. You just keep looping the 3 main deck monsters, and you will waste their resources long enough to get your answers to whatever they have. They side floodgate cards against you, like they probably would side maybe Light Imprisoning, but definitely Shadow Imprisoning. Then go into Zen mains, purposely waste the material on Zen mains and blow it up. You got rid of the floodgate, which stops your cards. The deck has answers to most things, but it still does lose 2 floodgates like most decks. Macrocosmos, D-Fissure, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, and to a certain extent Light Imprisoning Mirror will kill or hurt the deck severely. But this, like I said again, Zen mains is an out to it. Main decking 3 MSTs is an out to it. And you can just, if you wanted to, go beat over them though. Say you have a dead Dante. They use Light Imprisoning. Rank him up into a Pleiades. He may have no effect, but he's still a powerful 2500 monster, so I'm not entirely sure if Shaddoll's can get over that. I know Nephilim will, but I'm not sure if Midrash is over 25. Never played against it that much. So, the deck has answers to Shaddoll's, which it can kill. Stellar Knights. I've watched them recently, to decks that keep up advantage, this deck keeps up advantage far longer than Stellar Knights will. You just sided, like, you can main deck 1 card to lose. Main deck, side deck, Karma Cut, any of their main names, Denib, Altair, any of them. They're not going to go, the duel isn't going in their favor after they lose. If they lose a Stratos, you keep your loop in play long enough that the deck can main deck creature swaps. Not many decks can main deck creature swap and not go, like, they don't lose advantage. You creature swap a Burning Abyss, it then dies if they have another monster. You then get the effect of the Burning Abyss. So, okay, say you take their Dracosack. You give them a Skarm. Well, Skarm dies, you got to search, you got a free Dracosack. Tribute it, use it, do whatever you want. You got a free rank 7 that you normally couldn't go into. So that's another advantage of the deck. Main decking a card like creature swap is amazing. That's something that not many decks are able to do. Say you're playing Noble Knights. I know, as well as other people who've dueled it, Sacred King with all 5 equips is a bitch to get over. Use creature swap. Give them a dead Burning Abyss. You got a 4,000 untargetable killable monster. You just sit on that. And once they get rid of it, okay, you have enough resources to get over them. Same with other decks that rely on one monster. Take their Nephilim, give them one of these, they die, you get a search. Doesn't even matter if it doesn't special. The point is, you can take away their boss monsters, their main cards, the stuff they need to win. You give them stuff like this. Give them a tour guide, give them a dead Dante. It doesn't matter what you give them garbage cards. Because a Dante's not doing anything for them. It goes to the graveyard, you get a search. You get add back a card. Any of these go to the graveyard, you get pluses. You give them a dead tour guide. Say they finish a tour guide, creature swap it. You couldn't do anything with the tour guide anyway. It's technically a pseudo +1, because you took their monster and gave them a dead card. The deck doesn't really go minus on many things. So against Shaddoll's, Stellar Knights, they have a great matchup. Yang Zings again, sure they're floaters also, but they can only use the effects of each dragon once per turn. Same with the Burning Abyss. But the thing Burning Abyss has over them is being able to go into cards that would stop their plays. You go into a Pleiades, bounce it back, swing, bounce it back, swing, bounce it back, swing. You don't have to even attack them. You can just keep bouncing their cards. When they finally get into the Pleiades, you already detached all 3 materials. One of them was a Dante, definitely, because, you know, rank 3 warrior. One of them would have been a Burning Abyss, so you already got 2 pluses. You set them back technically 3 turns because they couldn't use their effects, and you were able to hit with 75 damage. They have only 500 left at that point. You're already ahead by so many turns. So you think if you were to side in or main deck, back to square one, Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, anything like that, you don't lose advantage. You go plus. You may lose, like, in the card advantage, say you have these 3 in your hand. You activate a Wing Blast. You went from 4 cards to 2. That's technically -1 in card economy. But here's why it's not a -1. You put them back 1 turn. You then get the effect of your Burning Abyss that will get you back 1 of your cards. Technically, you used 1 card and gained the +2. You set them back a turn from whatever their winning point is. Like whatever they're trying to do, you set them back a turn from doing it. didn't really pay any cost because you got a free plus off of that card anyway. So I think if you use an Astral Force, then great. You just add it back whenever you want. Having Astral Forces in hand is more discard fodder. This deck has at least 12 cards you can discard whenever you want. That's amazing. You can use 3 Wing Blast, 3 Karmic Cut, 3 Back to Square One, whatever you want, and keep gaining pluses. Not many decks can keep getting set back 2 turn, 3 turn, 4 turn, and still be able to play, because you set back Shaddoll's 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turn, 4 turn. After enough turns, they're going to run out of steam and resources to keep drawing the same dead Shaddol. There's no point in it. They would lose by the time they get their main card out. Because by the time they get out Nephilim, you'll have enough back row and enough answers to get rid of Nephilim, Midrash, the fusions they use, the Xyz if they play any of their synchros. You'll be able to have answers. The deck is able to have answers for most, if not all, things. Again, minus if the Floodgate is out. You then go Z-Maids, MST, something like that. Phoenix Wing Wind Blast is another example. Top deck their Floodgate. Go in after that. That might be a -1 if it's a D-Fissure or a macro, but you set them back and you can go off. So pretty much, the deck has perfect matchups against most decks. It still does lose hard to things that most decks would lose to. If you're dueling a Burn deck or Exodia that'll stall you, well then most decks lose to that sometimes anyway, because you don't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! You play against, let me think. Well, if you were to play against Shaddolls and they main deck 3 Shadow Imprisoning Mirror and Vengeance Emptiness, you're probably going to lose that anyway. So if they somehow main deck that, good on them, but you'd lose anyway because of those. So pretty much, what I would recommend is pick up some Burning Abyss cards. They're getting 5 new cards next set. They're getting a Synchro, a Tuner, new cards, and it already is an amazing archetype. Only 5 cards, and it's able to. It already took many tops at regionals and at an ARG. I think, in my opinion, it'd be great to pick up at least 3 Dantes and the main core. None of it's that expensive. The only expensive card is Dante himself. For good reason. It's the only high rarity card that you really need. So, in my opinion, do I think this deck is tier 1? Yes. Do I think you should pick it up? Absolutely. Do I think it is the best deck of the format? In my opinion, yes. Can it still use? Absolutely. Every deck can still lose to something. Except if you're playing old Bandless Dragon Rulers, we'll have fun with that. But anyway, so that's my opinion on the Burning Abyss. How I think they're going to do this format. I think they're going to take lots of tops, and then starting the next set with their 5 new cards, they're going to be tier 1 again. Or if Konami wants to push them enough, they will make them higher than that. They'll be a tier 0.5 or tier 0 if they want. Konami, when they want to push it, will push it. Like Dragon Ball is giving us everything we wanted to make that the money deck of the format. Like, because Konami said they didn't kill off Normal Knights, Dolls or something like that would be tier 1. But I don't think they predicted the deck would have done that well like this. So tell me your opinions on the deck. Do you feel Burning Abyss is a good deck? Feel it's going to just blow over and it's just a passing thing that they've been topping? Or do you honestly think that this deck will be tier 1, is tier 1, or will go higher? Tell me your opinions in the comments down below. And I'm going to do a deck profile either today or tomorrow of the Burning Abyss deck, and how I've tested it, what I think works so far in it. And I will also do another video segment later today or tomorrow. Thank you, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Nerd 24 signing out.